Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Angelisa, and on this channel we read, discuss, and obsess over books together. But today I'm going to be talking about a few ways that you can read more books. So I started reading again back in 2021 or something like that, and every year I've like doubled my reading goal. Now this year I'm not reading a lot. Well, I'm on track for my reading goal, but I'm still definitely not doubling my reading goal, because that's crazy. But what I will say is that I have incorporated a few things that I definitely think just allows me to read more books quickly and also actually absorb the information. Like, I'm not one of those people who like skims pages or any of that. Like, I actually do listen or read entire pages of books. I can't. Like, I think words really matter to me, and I love to annotate. So yeah, on average I'll read about 10 books per month. This year I've been reading more like 8 books per month. Sometimes it's been as low as 6 or 7, but I am still going to tell you guys my tips basically. So the first thing that I would say is to set reading goals. Now I just talked about this, so you can do this in a bunch of different ways. You can set daily page goals, you can set a yearly goal on something like Goodreads or Storygraph or Fable or like a whole bunch of other apps. You can set goals like the ones that I have listed here, like read more classics, DNF more books, series that you want to finish that you're in the middle of. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can make reading goals, and what this does is it sets a goal and a little checkbox that you can check off once you do it, that you can just kind of keep in mind for the year while you're reading, and just try to achieve them and see how much you do at the end of the year. And I find that when you have a goal in mind and something to strive towards, it's easier to complete those tasks towards them. So like I mentioned, a yearly goal is something that's like a very long-term goal, whereas if you do something such as like a monthly goal, or even if it's like in a form, setting a TBR is kind of like setting a goal for each month, it helps you bring that down to like smaller pieces of goals. Next we have joining a book club. So this was actually one of my goals I think for last year, and I'm so glad that I got to do it in 2 ways. So I joined 2 book clubs. One of them I joined, and the other ones I actually started at my workplace, and it's been really fun being in both of them. Being in book clubs, you're almost guaranteed at least 1 book a month if you follow the book club that you're in every month, and it's just so much fun to get to like dissect books with people, because you fully end up understanding that book at whatever pace that you ended up reading it, because as you're talking about it with people, and usually they'll be guided by discussion questions, you kind of get brought back to certain scenes in the book, and it helps you understand everything a lot better. Next we have book of the month or other like book subscription boxes that you can subscribe to. Now this helps because when you know that you have another book coming next month, it kind of helps that you want to read the one that you just got sent, and this is a way that you can discover more books because they're curated, and you can choose out of a like curated selection that someone like Book of the Month has put together. Even if you wanted to do like subscription boxes such as like Fairy Loo or whatnot, there's so many different types of subscription boxes that you can do where you can discover new reads or obviously get special editions of reads that you love. But nonetheless, I think that that's a great way to discover more books and therefore read more books, because you'll probably get books that you never would have seen before. With that, I know that those are sometimes very expensive and steep pricing. Books have gotten so expensive, so for that reason I definitely recommend trying libraries, checking out physical books, and also downloading an app like Libby where you can it depends on your area of course, but at least where I'm from, you can connect your library card to the app and check out ebooks and audiobooks, and I almost always have like 30 books on hold. That's the max, so that I constantly have a flow of like books that I can borrow at a time, and a lot of them end up being ones that I do have like physical copies of that I've been wanting to read, and I just love reading a physical book with an audiobook. Like, it's one of my favorite ways to do it, which actually moves me to my next tip, which is audiobooking. I find that it helps you understand the books so much better, as well as you can read it a lot faster. You can audiobook while you're doing other tasks. I like to audiobook while I'm doing laundry, while I'm on the bus, in the car, like commuting to places. I literally audiobook all the time, and it's just a great way to experience a book, to be honest. It really brings books to life, especially when they pick great voice actors for these audiobooks. And yeah, so you can get those on Libby, but you can also get them on places obviously like Audible, and I know Spotify has 15 hours every month or something for premium members. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can access audiobooks, and they're just so much fun. Number 6 is basically just like always keeping a book with you. You never know when you're gonna end up like having to wait for a long time or have a lot of downtime, and always keeping a book with you really allows you to read a lot more. Like I said, you can kind of just do it everywhere. You can read in the mornings when you wake up, you can read before bed at night, you can read on the train, on the planes, on the bus to school, you can read in the car, like all the things that I mentioned. You can do that with any type of book, especially if it's, you know, not requiring your eyes. I'm talking about being a passenger in a car, unless you get sick. I've heard of some people get really nauseous when they read. Let me know if that happens to you. I think I've seen some influencers have like those goggles. I really want to get them, but they look ridiculous. I want them to make like a more stylish version of them. Next is doing reading challenges. So you can either do like 24-hour reading challenges, swapping your screen time for reading time challenges. Like there's so many different challenges, even that like here on YouTube or on Pinterest, that you can look up and try out, and that's a great way to like read like 3 to 4 books in a row. There's like 200 pages a day challenges. Like obviously if you are on YouTube, you're prompted to do those challenges more because you're recording and producing content, but you can even just do those challenges without recording if you don't want to. Like it's just fun to do. And yeah, for number 8, I put follow, inspo, and join the community. So there's so many ways that you can do this. You can do this through Pinterest, Instagram, YouTube, joining things like Goodreads, Storygraph. TikTok is obviously a huge place, booktok, podcasts. There's so many podcasts about books and the reading community that is just so much fun to listen to. There's also where you can join like Discords and lives where you're doing like reading sprints with people. That's another way that you can meet people in the community and just read more books. I find that when I started watching booktube, that is when I started reading a lot more, because I was really inspired by other people to read more books. Number 9 is book tracking. So you can do this in a bunch of different ways. I've tried different ways as well. You can do this through journaling, other places like I said like Goodreads, Storygraph. You can also use Notion. I've done a video using a book tracking Notion template, which I still use to this day. It is a way that I track my entire TBR and bookshelves, and even books that I've read and donated. Another way obviously is to make TBRs and wrap-ups so that you can kind of like have an overview each month of what you read for the month. And number 10, I think the best way to read more books is not to force yourself. I find that when you force yourself to read, you don't end up enjoying books, you don't end up absorbing them, you end up reading the same lines over and over again and having to restart pages over and over again because you're just not into that book. It's okay to DNF books. That's something that I've been trying to learn. I record a lot of videos for books that I read, so sometimes I don't want to finish, like I want to just like see it through, but there have been times where I've been DNFing now where I'm just like, this is not worth my time. However, I think it's just important to just not read books that you don't want to read and not be afraid to have an opinion like that. It's totally fine to not like a book. Just because you don't like a book, it doesn't mean it's not for someone. And it's really just not that serious, you know what I mean? Anyway, that is the 10 tips that I have to read more books and how to just like get involved more in the book community if that's something that you've been thinking about. And yeah, let me know if you have any tips in the comment section below. I'd love to just hear more ways that you guys think you can read more books, get involved in the book community, whether it be for me or for you guys or other people who are watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I love you guys so much, and hopefully I will see you in the next video.